This is Mr. Floyd 212. Hello, everybody. This is the Bill and Ted Face the Music spoiler review. How you doing, guys? All right, so I finally got to see it this morning after I woke up from doing the overnight last night. So I want to get really deep into this movie. Let me start off and say that I really loved this movie. This movie clicked with me, maybe because I'm a dad. I have two boys. They had each a girl. So I get it that, it's great when your kids idolize you and they act like you. They are like, the kids are supposed to be an extension of yourself, and they're supposed to be an improvement over yourself. So right off the bat, this movie connected with me on so many different areas. And, you're older, okay? You're not like you were before. You're older, things happen in life, stuff gets put off. There's a lot of pressure to get stuff done. Like they're trying to find the song that, brings peace to the world, the universe, reality as we know it now. I'm under pressure too because while I'm writing books, the one book I want to write, I haven't written yet completely, my sci-fi novel. So it's always like, when are you going to do your sci-fi novel? When are you going to do your sci-fi novel? And I'm like, I don't know. I got to be into it to finish it. So I kind of connect with this on so many levels. They are husbands, they have wives, they have families, they have to work for a living. The wives work for a living. They're not doing great making money wise. The wives are making money. Makes sense that the kids and the dads are bonded and they're perfectly in sync. And I love that. I absolutely love that. We know that George Carlin passed away, so they have to have like his daughter is in it, even though it's not his real daughter, like George Carlin's real daughter, but it is named after his real daughter. But you have it that the leader of the world is Rufus's wife. They make it clear. I guess he passed away. And I just felt like this was completely family oriented. Each movie had a different style. Each movie had an evolution, so to speak. You had the first one where they were really young. Second one where they got a little too cocky. They died. Different things happened. They still pulled it together. But you would thought that the last movie they had the song and it wasn't. And then they just dropped off and they lost their inspiration. They lost this. Too much pressure to be a success, and they dropped. And it happens in life. And this, like, from what I understand, the script is an old script. I know a lot of people are going to be like, oh, this is like, like people, the whole woke thing. I didn't see it at all. I actually, wasn't really, I felt like it was going to be, but then when I watched it, I'm like, no, this is like a family movie. Okay. This is something like I would go to see with my kids and I would really enjoy it. You wouldn't be picking apart different things. There's one thing that the fact I would have liked Bill and Ted to have actually just done the song, but I get it where it's, the kids, basically the combination with the kids and them together as a unit, a teamwork, the kids, all the improvement, which I always say, your kids are, supposed to be better than you, an improvement over you. You want them to learn from your mistakes, so you want them to be better. So the fact that the kids were main instrumental into making the song, I still would have rather Bill and Ted do it, but I was willing to let it slide. It would have been nice if it was actually a song. I know it's like the harmony, the music, the all that stuff, but it would have been nice if it was an actual song. But I like that Death returned. I like that the father acknowledged, that, his kid and his kid's friend, like they did travel through time. They did go to hell. They did do all these different things. It was kind of weird how the one kind of paradox, I guess, is the future princesses having a telephone booth, picking themselves up was kind of weird. But I guess the future princesses would be with the elderly Bill and Ted, stuff like that. The robot thing was pretty funny. The fact that everything was paradoxing, probably because the robot killed historical figures and they weren't there. It's funny how they introduced the multiverse for Bill and Ted, like multiple Bill and Ted's different universes versions of it. Sort of like the Back to the Future thing. The future is what you make it. From that point in time, anything can happen. I loved, Keanu Reeves and Alex Winter. I thought they were great. The fact that their older selves were like kind of villains, I was like, I guess I would have rather have a villain, but I was very impressed. Now, it's not better than the first one, right? I think it's better than the second one, but again, I really don't have any major problems with this movie at all. I'm a big, huge Bill and Ted fan, and it was enjoyable for me. Like I didn't it was nothing in the movie where I was like, oh, come on. I kind of, with the second movie, I was kind of annoyed. I didn't like it as much as the first one. Death was funny, but I was like, wow, they really went out there, like killing them off, and then that got a little nuts. I mean, I thought that was a little too far with the second movie, but this movie rung it in for me, and it was sort of like perfect way to end it, because you wouldn't really make any more after this. I wouldn't see a purpose to it. If they did make another one after this, I kind of would feel it was forced. It basically ended the story. They did the song. It's it. If you want to do a spin-off with the girls, I mean, I guess, but I honestly feel that this is done. No more Bill and Ted. Nothing else to do. They did the song. That's it. And you don't need to make any more. I mean, if this movie made like $1 billion, even if it made $2 billion, which it won't, but like, you don't need to make any more. It's done. Like, you set your path out to doing this one thing. The thing is done, and now everything is fine, and that's the end of it. You don't need to get like a cash grab and do it like, oh, something else happens. No, I think that's pretty much it. I like seeing the hologram of Rufus. I thought that was excellent. I'm glad that they didn't end it where Bill and Ted died, that they were just old and they had, they got inspiration, they were playing the music and everything, but then they were tired. I'm glad that they didn't kill them off, because that, like, at the end, because that would have been really sad. But I don't have any problems with this movie. I love it. I mean, I started to see people like reviewing it, and some people had problems with it. I don't have any problems with it at all, really. I would want this to be part of my collection, and have it in the house. I would watch it multiple times. We all know that, like, the telephone booth, of course, was a parody of the TARDIS, Doctor Who, and everything, and and the thing with the pipes is like the time vortex sort of thing. But you knew it was like a parody of it. It was so much different though than Doctor Who, because they were musicians. They played music. They loved music. They had that was what the whole thing resonated with. It was like the harmonious, peaceful thing that could bring everyone together, like this one thing that they wrote from their heart, like a song or something. Of course, it kind of changed from what I actually thought it was from the first movie. It was more of like just tunes, like different things, not like really them singing, which I thought that's kind of what the song would be. But I loved it. Death in it. I mean, we didn't see Station, which I wasn't really a fan of Station. I know the guys like Station. I wasn't a fan of Station in the second one. I thought the second one, Bogus Journey, was over the top, way too much, whatever. So I kind of have it like Bill and Ted, for Excellent Adventure, then Face the Music, then Bogus Journey. Again, it's not better than the first one, but it's really good. And I do like the fact that it would have been terrible. Think about it. It would have been terrible if they would have had sons, because it would have been like a copy. It would have been like it's at least you have a nuance. It's a different thing to it, right? They are like their dad, but they're kind of smarter. You know what I'm saying? It's like your kids have always you always want your kids, and I'm not gonna say everybody. I envision that my children are better than me, and the whole goal as a father would be wanting my kids to be better than me. Okay, there would be no ego if they were better than me and they succeeded better than me, because that was what the whole raising your kids to be, is to be where they don't, you know, succumb to the problems that you do, because you taught them not to go through that. So they would go through new problems and new stuff that they would teach their kids. But this felt so close to home, family oriented to me. I was a little teary eyed, kind of, because like my main thing, my whole world is my children, and my girlfriend, and seeing that bond with the daughters and Bill and Ted, it was like seeing how my kids were, when they were young and growing up, and they thought I was the greatest thing. I was their world, and it kind of made me feel like reminded me of that, made me happy to see that, that their kids would be, their dads could do no wrong, and like they loved their dad to death. They would, go save their dad. It was I love it, man. I know it got a little over the top with the humor, with the futuristic versions. I guess from would be considered an alternate reality, because they'd say now the multiverse or a quantum realm, whatever. So it would be multiple Bill and Ted things. You never really go to the actual proper future, whatever the hell it is. I don't know, but it still, it worked. The movie worked. They weren't like when they were young, like totally stupid. I mean, they were stupid, but not to a point. There were certain things like, when Keanu Reeves was like, I'm going to sell my instrument because I, need to pay for these things. It was like responsibility. It's like, wow, you're going to give up your dreams. You want to make sure your kids have what they have, and your wife has what they have. You pay your bills, like it's not all on the wife. So the fact that he was going to walk away from that, and that was the exact moments that Rufus's daughter popped in there. It's like, boom, snap back to reality. The fact that the Rufus's wife wanted them to be killed, I kind of feel like it was a thing where maybe she felt that was his obsession, and yes, she went along with it, but maybe she felt that was his whole thing. And when he died, she kind of felt maybe a little jealous with the Bill and Ted thing, kind of a little bit, but she thought that her husband was wrong in the end, and that maybe they need to kill him. They need to kill them, which it backfired, and her daughter died and everything. The interesting thing I saw was that the guy was telling her, we need to go. And she said, go where? Where are we going to go? Everything's going to be destroyed. Every universe, every reality. Like, do you have a plan? Like, where do you think we'll go? The funny thing about how reality is so screwed up that the daughter was able to talk to her mother in hell on the phone. Makes sense that reality is in chaos, that would work, that she would have the phone, be able to talk to her, because reality is so messed up. And I kind of felt like reality was totally screwed up because the robot killed historical figures and wrecked the timeline, kind of. Think about it like Doctor Who-ish wise, or time travel wise. They killed these famous, people in history, and they never returned to the past. So you wrecked the timeline. Everything's spiraling out of control. It was technically that screwed everything up, kind of. So now when everybody was returned from hell back to the real world, things were still getting chaos because of all the stuff happening. But once a song played, everything was good. And I really love that. I really love this movie. This is a family movie, okay? Where the other movies were, like, this was a Bill and Ted rated G family movie. It's not always rated G, but it's a family-oriented movie. And I got that, and I enjoyed that. And the movie could do no wrong in my eyes. Like, nobody could ever convince me otherwise. You know, I went into it with kind of low expectations, and I came out of it inspired. Okay? Inspired. You watch this movie and you're like, man, I really need to get off my fucking ass, right? It's like, they were like lazy after a while. They were like screwed up. And it's like, just imagine if I was inspired more. Just imagine if I got on here and do more live streams and more podcasts. Whatever way works for you. If this movie inspires me to do more books faster, hey, you know what? It's characters I grew up with when I was young, right? I mean, what was it, 1987? That was an important year for me. I think it was 1987, right? The Bill and Ted came out. That was an important year for me because that's when I started with my comic book collection. That's when I started, like, full-fledged. I started coming into, you know, I was a teenager, coming into who I was, forming, I mean, you know, totally direction I was going to take and stuff like that. So, like, this has been a part of my life for a while. Not as long as Doctor Who, but craving this third movie for a long time. Long time. Been waiting for this for a long time, and it didn't disappoint. Unlike some movies where they disappoint you and you're like, oh, I could see this happen. You know, I could see them getting it together and doing the song. And even though, like, the kids were a big part of it, you know what? I overlook it because I'm like, you know what? To work together as a family unit to get it done, I'm happy with it. I'm better. That's a better resolution than I would have thought it was, because back in the day, I wasn't a dad. I was a kid, a teenager when they were teenagers, and their wild stallions were there. So now that I'm a dad, they're a dad. To me, it makes sense, and it's like perfect sense. And it's a movie evolved with you throughout the decades. Okay, from you being a teenager to you dating to you getting married to you having children. This evolved with me. You know, I have kids. They have kids. Their train of thinking, kids of the whole world, the wives of their whole world. Wives fall apart, they fall apart. Their whole intricate family unit starts collapsing. It's true. And that's the whole point. It's that if you look at that the way it is, like, if you're happily married, you're happily family, you have your loved one, you have your kids, that's all you need, right? That's all you really need. I mean, yeah, you need money once in a while, you need whatever, and it would be nice to be rich, but once you have freaking happiness, like, everything flows. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, they could do better. They tried too hard, I think. That's what the problem was. There was so much pressure that they tried too hard. And I think that's true. I mean, that's true in life. If you are expected to do something, maybe you won't do it because there's just so much damn pressure. But if you take the pressure off, and then when you feel inspired, you do it. Like it just resonated with me. This whole thing. I mean, it reminded me of myself. And even though, like, I'm not saying I'm above anybody else or anything, but personally, I set goals for myself. And the one thing I wanted to do was my sci-fi novel, and I haven't done it. I've done other books. Like, I have my sci-fi characters in the books. I have the books are poetry. The books are motivational. The books show, like, ups and downs in life. They have fictional characters. There's time travel in my books, right? The characters from my sci-fi novel, they're in there. I've been linking them in each book, putting them all in there. And then when you have the sci-fi novel, it's going to be like, oh, you already seen these characters already in my books, so who the villain is and villains, and the hero, and the love interest and different things and stuff like that. I've been writing my sci-fi novels since I was 13, basically young. You know, I've been writing it for ages, just like since I guess maybe since '87. I was a kid writing, you know, like teenager. So I haven't finished. I mean, I've written so much notebooks of it that now that I'm a writer, to sort of get it all together and make it, you know, make sense and just like put it together, you know, it would be more than one book. It would be multiple books. But I haven't done that yet. And it's always because I was always afraid I wasn't good enough. You know, I always wanted to write books and I always felt I wasn't good enough, you know. And seeing this movie clicked with me, man. I mean, it just affected me. It inspired me. I'm happy. You know, it's like, it's great that, you know, things are not going great. I'm going to be honest with COVID and everything, right? Can't go to the movies. Can't do, you know, video on demand, right? Things are not good right now. Let's be honest. I know I try to be happy on here. Things are not good. There's no real escape. You can't really go anywhere. Money is worse because, in my sense, you know, less hours, less money. The bills are still there, but you have less money. How do you do that? It gets depressing after a while. Not gonna lie. It's been times I don't want to do videos. I've been depressed, right? You look for stuff in your life. Yes, you have to work. Yes, you have to pay bills, but you look to the entertainment for escape, to enjoy something, to make you forget about life sometimes, and just lose yourself in a movie or something, you know. And a lot of times these movies don't do it for you. This movie did it for me. This movie did it for me. This movie resonated with me. This movie reminded me of things, reminded me where I need to go, what I need to do. I need to motivate. I gotta get motivated. I gotta start doing what I love to do. I love doing videos. Love talking to you guys. I love talking to Yvette and David Blythe and Chef Ula. I always get your name wrong, bro. I'm so sorry. You're awesome, though. One of these days I'll pronounce it right. These guys give me time. They actually spend time watching my stuff. I love them. Why wouldn't I? Me and David Blythe fight sometimes, right? But you know what, though? We're friends. I mean, even though we never met, but friends on here. I like talking to him all the time. I like talking to that, you know. So I love doing YouTube videos. I love talking about Doctor Who. I love talking about movies, comics, video games. And I haven't done that lately. You guys know when something's wrong. You know, why is Matrix Lloyd? He should do 10 videos a day. Why is he not on? Why does he take off days sometimes? You're tired? It's not really because I'm tired. I'm kind of down and out, depressed, you know. So, but then, you know, you guys are wonderful. Yvette, you're wonderful, Yvette. Like, you doing that donation and stuff. That was very nice. Thank you. Love you. Aw. You don't have to do that again. I love you. Thank you. I'm getting all melancholy. I'm getting sad. I'm not gonna cry up, but it's just, and then you see the negativity, right? It's just like I work and I see it, but like nobody really knows how much it affects you. You know, some people it doesn't bother them, but bothers me. Like, I'm a very sensitive person, so if I have negativity throughout the day, I'll come home and I'll just think about it. And I'll be like, you know, that really sucked today. You know, people don't know you and they talk down to you and they make it like you're a stupid person because they want something and they can't get it. But you're the fault, even though it's a corporation that you work for. But so it's hard after a while. Some people want to fight you too. That's another thing. Some people want to challenge you, and then you just you go home and you try to cleanse it out, and you can't leave it there. You take it home. Yeah. And then it's like, you know, working hard, and then just whatever's going on, just that hours not there. It's just like you get another job. I'm tired. You don't want to get another job. I don't really want to get another job. I'm exhausted. Even now, my eyes are so heavy, right? You can see bags under my eyes. But I wanted to talk about Face the Music because seeing it meant the world to me. It was a really good I mean, maybe just it affected me that I see. Maybe I'm biased that I just loved it because I connected with it. Maybe you won't connect with it. I don't know. I know some people probably. I think Philip. I don't know if he was on the fence with it. Some people were just not. Didn't like it 100%. But you know what? Yeah. I respect their opinions. That's fine. As long as I loved it, that's what I care about. I mean, like, you don't love it, I'm sorry. I love Face the Music. But certain things in life, like it could be a color, it could be a picture, it could be music, it could be a movie that inspire you and just like snap you back into reality sometimes. What do you need to do? It's like, I'm Matrix Lord 2 and 2. I'm a YouTuber. I'm a published author. I'm going to do these things. I'm going to do another book. I'm going to do videos. That's what it is. And if that movie did it for me, I'll say it. And I'll be happy about it. It sucks when you see a shitty movie, but this was one of the best ones. I really. Thank you. Yeah, yeah, I'm glad you got connected with it a little bit too. That's cool. Yeah. So, well, today sucked because didn't get my check. So that just totally screws up the day. But I got to see a great movie. So it kind of, all right, the money's not there. There's no money. But I know you guys donating. I'll probably see that in a month because that's the way it works with these super chat things. I guess I'll see it on the 25th of September, whatever's coming in now, which it will be much appreciated when I have it then. So thank you guys. Yvette, thank you so much. I mean, between yesterday and today, you don't have to do that. I appreciate it, but thank you. So, yeah, it's like so weird. It's like, this is not just about Face the Music. It's in general, life, this live stream. I can't wait to see Keanu Reeves in Matrix 4. Dying for that, too. That's one of my favorites, too. Can't wait to see, him in the next two John Wicks, right? Or whatever he does if he's in the MCU, I guess. Yeah. So I am happy today. That's the main thing. Got my favorite jacket on. I guess you would call it a hoodie or not a hoodie. Maybe it's a jacket. My hair doesn't look verklempt. Drinking water. That's good. So, yeah, seeing this movie kind of reminded me of stuff that I have put off and stuff that I want to do. And one of the biggest things was during COVID that when I released Twists of Hate, it took me years longer to do this one. The one that I was doing, it was sort of, the reason why things took longer too is because the book that I was doing, I scrapped. And I wound up doing this other book that I had put off for a while too. And I decided to go with this book because I wanted sort of I wanted to do a book in the Sorrow Separation series. But I wanted to show a different side of it. I wanted to show the character degrading, depression, but I wanted to also show the fact that it wasn't so much from himself, but it was because of the time traveler trying to be the voice in his head, the consciousness to bring him down. The psychological of it, whatever, the whole thing. I wanted it to be psychological. I wanted it to be him thinking it's in his head, the character, the man of nothing, but it's the time traveler. We nicknamed the Shadow because he can't be seen, right? But it can be heard. So the guy thinks that the voice in his head is himself, but it's not. And then you have the angel, which God doesn't like time travel. So that's his guardian angel, Crystal, the guardian angel, that she's trying to put a stop to the time traveler. But the whole point is that in this one instance, God doesn't want her to interfere with the time traveler wrecking the man's life. The only assignment that she has is that when he walks in the field and he drops, for her to reach out her hand and take him to heaven and end his suffering. And if he takes her hand, she takes him. And if not, she not. But she knows the future as well. And she knows that the guy will be getting himself together. He will be better than ever, and he will be doing great things in the future and do a lot for the world. But right now, with the time travel's intervention, he may fall, he may die, whatever. So she's not okay with it. She's like, emotions, crying. She doesn't want to reach out her hand. She doesn't want to take it. She knows of his full potential. And that's what the cover recognizes, that she's reaching out her hand, crying almost, and he's reaching out to her, and you have the shadow in the background, showing like he's doing all kinds of stuff in the background. Very powerful book, very emotional book, great conclusion. And that's it. I put my heart and soul into that one. But it leads to the next one, of course. So, there it is. That's that whole scene I was talking about, that she's very sad. She doesn't want to reach his hand because she knows by reaching his hand, she'll take him from the earth and he won't be able to accomplish what he's supposed to accomplish. But the time travel is causing him to, be at his end, so to speak. It's a test of wills. He's got to cross the field to the car. And if he does, it will be like so many years of happiness. Like, it's like a whole thing. Like, so God doesn't want her to interfere with that because it's a test of wills. Will the guy be strong enough to pass this test, to go on to the next level? That's why he's allowing the time travel to wreck things. And he's just letting the angel just be there, not to battle him, just take the guy's hand. And I always had this thing for the book, for like, one of the Sorrow books. I always had this. I even put it in some of the books, like little tad things about it. But it meant a lot to me because this book of sorrow, separation, was the separation of oneself. Lost himself. For everything that was going on, or losing everything, this book was about him, his mindset, his future. That was all about in his brain, in his head, and he didn't even know of the background noise, the good and the evil messing him up. And in a way, the good would be messing it up too, because, how would you know how you would be if there's like stuff adding to it? Sometimes the good adding to it would make it worse, because you know how you are. So if you would feel something, you'd be like, well, I don't feel like that. Why am I all happy if I'm no reason to be happy? Certain things. So like the ending is a powerful. The cover captured it perfectly. But anyway, these books do mean a lot to me too, besides the sci-fi novel that's coming, actually. And it will happen. But again, this video is about Face the Music mostly. Bill and Ted. Powerful movie. I loved it to death. Maybe you won't. I don't see, like I said, the script is old, so you can't say that it has anything to do with woke and this and that, because the script was written before woke. So, if you get that, I don't see how, but, what's the difference with, I'm glad they didn't have them have sons, because then it would have been like a carbon copy of Bill and Ted. And I felt that them not doing that, and that the girls were totally into music like their dad, it fit. It fit for me. I loved it. And I hope you love this, me pouring out my heart and soul to you guys on this live stream. Got a little emotional. Sorry about that. I don't know if you guys are ready for that. But again, I wouldn't even, if I had to rate it, see stuff like this, like when I really, really enjoy a movie and clicks with me. Really don't want to rate it, but I mean, if I thought Bill and Ted Excellent Adventure was better, which I did, I give it an 8, and I give Bill and Ted Excellent Adventure higher, and I would give Bogus Journey lower because I don't like Bogus Journey, So I give it an 8. Like this is rewatchable. You know what I'm saying? Bogus Journey, I have a hard time rewatching. Excellent Adventure, I can watch all the time. So I give it an 8. Maybe a little tad higher than 8. I'm gonna say 8. We'll stick with 8. That's the way it is. Hope you enjoyed the live stream, guys. Thank you so much, Yvette, for the donation again. Appreciate it. Chin up, like she says. All right, guys. Take care. Bye for now.